What's going on, friends? It's Ty the TV Guy here with a movie review for the new A24 film, Marty Supreme, by Josh Safdie, starring Timothée Chalamet, Gwyneth Paltrow, Tyler the Creator, and others. So I want to dive deep into this movie, all my thoughts and feelings. I did get to see it on the big screen in theaters, of course, as it's, I believe, still playing as of the time I post this. So it was definitely an exciting experience. Pretty full theater, well, half full maybe, which these days is pretty good. But before I get into my detailed rundown of what I liked, what I didn't like, make sure to like this video, comment what you thought of the movie, and subscribe to the channel for more TV and movie content in the near future. So I did see this movie last week and haven't gotten a chance to make this video yet, so forgive me if I forget any of the smaller, more intimate details, but largely, to me, this movie comes down to the duality of man, and a man that obviously is fervently chasing a goal, which is to become the world champion tennis player, essentially, the best player in the world, and to be touted as such, largely in pursuit of the financial freedom and reward that this would bring him, but maybe even more so just the pride and just the competitiveness that this Marty Supreme character seems to have. And I do think Timothée Chalamet brought the character to life so well, but I'll do more praising of his and the others acting later on in this video. As far as, continuing with the plot here, I do think for Marty, largely, like I said, it came down to the duality of pursuit and then escape. So, you really look at different phases of the movie. He's in pursuit of money, whether that's the pursuit of money through the means of becoming the world champion table tennis player at these tournaments, whether that's with some side hustles on the streets or at these shady bowling alleys trying to win ping pong competitions where people doesn't know that he's a world-class player, whether that's by the means of, pursuing the money through this Gwyneth Paltrow character, who is the wife of a wealthy businessman, and, she kind of has a couple flings with Marty here, and he's also kind of using her for money. So obviously, he's not a very morally commendable character. His morals are in question, but I do think that, like I said, there's kind of the two sides to it. One of the sides is he's always in pursuit, a lot of the time in pursuit of money, obviously in pursuit of his passion and his dream as well, but also, a lot of the times he has to escape. It's the pursuit, and then most of the time, since he's doing something wrong, he then either has to escape just a sticky situation he finds himself in, whether that be with the law in several scenarios where they're chasing him down kind of throughout the streets and he has to hide for a bit, whether he's trying to escape his personal life problems with his, throughout the movie, we think potential pregnant lover, I guess you could say, in Rachel. Or, he gets himself into the situation with the dog, and then he's trying to escape that at multiple points, both escaping having the responsibility for the dog, escaping the man who then comes to possess the dog, who has a shotgun and is firing it at him and others with no hesitation, escaping the guys who chase him and Tyler the Creator's character down at the gas station. It's just one constant thing after another. It's very hectic, I must say, throughout the movie, where he's pursuing something, pursuing a goal, pursuing his table tennis skills, pursuing money to pay the bills and make ends meet, and then he's running away from something. He's escaping just after that. So that was kind of the back and forth we were playing, and back and forth kind of comparing that to table tennis as well. I don't know that was intentional, probably just a connection I'm making, but yeah, I think there was back and forth, obviously, with the table tennis games, and back and forth with that pursuit and escape cycle that Marty found himself in. So I liked the plot largely, at least as I was watching the movie. I obviously was very entertained and honestly just so engrossed in this world and in these characters, especially the main character, Marty, of course, and just how charismatic and charming he could be at times, which makes it scary because he was really such a morally apprehensive character for much of the film, pretty much all the film, but you, at least in my opinion, still find yourself rooting for him, whether that be in the ping pong games themselves or even in like the relationship moments. I'm hoping the whole time that he'll say something better and nicer and kinder than he's said in previous situations, with the Gwyneth Paltrow character. Sorry, I don't remember all the characters' names, but it is what it is. With her character, he's having sex with her and then saying, just kind of crazy stuff, out-of-pocket stuff afterward about her husband and all that. It's like, okay, man, you're doing a morally questionable thing already, and then you're just like doubling down on you being this bad boy. The relationship with Rachel and her pregnancy is very complicated throughout. They both tell lies to each other at points. She has the makeup on her eye. It was very convoluted, I must say. I think it was intentionally messy, intentionally thrown together to make you feel like you're in Marty's shoes and like everything is falling down around you and it's hectic, but he still had to find a way to pursue his goals and, like I said, fervently chase that dream despite the hecticness of his life. And I felt that as a viewer. I felt just how crazy things were, just how out of order things seemed to be in every aspect of his life. Relationships, both with family, intimate relationships, with friends, with other people in the ping pong industry. It was like literally everyone he came into contact with, he just kind of had to use as a tool, as a means to get what he wanted in the end. And the crazy part about it is he didn't really get what he wanted in the end. He, even in the points where he did make significant amounts of cash, largely lost that cash or had to pay off other people once he got it. Didn't even get his flight home from Kevin O'Leary's character, the rich businessman, from the ping pong tournament near the end of the movie. He ends up coming back home and gets something that, to end the movie, he was never hoping for. He was hoping to become crowned the best ping pong player in the world, win this big tournament, get the prize money as, and have that as his reward. But instead, his reward is a new child, a blessing in the form of human life, which it seems like, based on, the great facial expression and acting displayed in that final scene, Marty finally came to the realization that, okay, this is actually really important, and he may have actually appreciated it above all the greed and the lust and all the negative, kind of attributes he had been putting on display throughout most of the movie. It finally seems like he might have come to terms there at the end of the movie. Now, we don't get to dive deeper into this and beyond that moment because the movie cuts off right there, which, especially on, as I was watching it, I was pretty shocked that the movie just ended at that. It felt like it left a lot of just crazy things that happened in this film just out there to dry, and it doesn't appear there's going to be a sequel to this, at least not that we expect. So I was pretty surprised with the ending. I can't say that I necessarily love it. Not that every story, no matter the genre, no matter the format and medium, has to end with like this picturesque, perfect like bow tied, in terms of the story coming to a complete and full ending. But it was still just kind of like a strange way to end this after, it's them ripping off people at these ping pong tournaments, like I said, and then it's, he's chasing down this random guy's dog that his bathtub fell on from earlier in the movie, and then that guy ends up to kind of be a psychopath himself and threatens him and, Rachel's life here, and she's pregnant and she gets shot as they go to recover the dog, but they end up getting a lot of money because everybody there died, and then they return all the way back and Marty leaves her again, and then he ends up going all the way overseas, winning the tournament, but not getting the money that he was promised from that in the end. It was just like every situation, I will admit, it like subverted my expectations. He didn't get like that triumphant moment that you were expecting, at least not in the form that you were expecting it, right? I mean, I guess personally got that triumphant moment when he did beat the ping pong player, I believe the Japanese ping pong player, but it still felt like that was just like a personal moral victory in the moment. It didn't achieve the grand heights that he was trying to get to because he ended up being excluded from the tournament. He was basically disqualified from like the commissioner or the tournament runner who he already had a flaky past with, and since he just didn't get in on time, essentially the guy wasn't willing to, bend the knee and make an exception for him. But for me, more than the plot and more than the themes and more than that pursuit and escape parallel and dynamic that I mentioned, The best part of this movie, as you would expect with some of the headliners here, was just the performances, man. I mean, they all made you feel it. Of course, especially Timothée Chalamet, who is the main character and who the camera followed for like 90% of the movie, obviously. He just killed it, I thought, throughout. I mean, he gives such a dynamic performance, makes you really feel this character. And even though, obviously, I and most of the viewers can't necessarily relate to the specifics of this story, I'm not trying to be the best ping pong player in the world and go on all these crazy side ventures, throughout. I'm not trying to evade the law, to rip people off for a few bucks. I don't relate to any of that necessarily, obviously on a personal level, but I could still relate to the character because of how well it was presented and portrayed. So huge props to Timothée Chalamet. I think the hype around him as one of the best actors of this generation is well deserved, and it was put fully on display in this film. So many great moments. It was just so intense most of the time, but he still had those moments of lightheartedness that really made you feel like this character, this guy's kind of insane, but maybe you just have to be insane to try to reach the level he's trying to get to, be the best in the world at something, and pull off some of the crazy schemes he's going for. So I loved the character. I loved the performance. Loved all that. I thought everybody else in the film as well was great. I thought Kevin O'Leary, for it being like his first acting role, did great. He just had to play kind of like a guy with a stick up his butt, real hard ass. He did go with that. Tyler, the Creator, I was impressed with him as well. Gwyneth Paltrow killed it. I don't know the names of some of the other actors, to be quite honest with you, but I was impressed with the performances around the board, and it brought this admittedly confusing and layered story, still brought it some groundedness, I thought, because the performances were so raw and just well executed. So to me, that is what really carried this film. Not saying I wasn't entertained throughout. There was crazy stuff going on. There was fire, there was explosions, there was robberies, there was crimes left and right, there was tension. It was all good. It made for an entertaining experience. I can't say that, like I said, the plot wrapped up in like this super meaningful way. I guess with the payoff, like I said, they were probably just trying to signify that, like, okay, Marty finally realizes that, like, this is a beautiful blessing that he now has in this child, rather than running from that like he has the whole movie. Well, yeah, why not finally embrace this? But we really do just get a brief moment with him and his kid, him and Rachel's baby there, and then it just cuts to the credits. And so we leave this film after so much chaos on honestly a pretty low-key note, and it just kind of, I think, leaves us with the themes of ambition, failure, and how parenthood can kind of really change someone and their outlook on things. And I think in that moment when you saw Timothy as Marty looking at that kid, in a weird way, everything did change for him just in the snap of a finger, despite what he'd all been going through and what his mentality was before this. So I love the movie. Those are some of the things I take from it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I am going to give this a final score. To me, given everything, I'm going to give it, like, I'm stuck between two numbers here. I think I'm going to opt for a 7.5 out of 10. I was between that and an 8. I don't want to do like 7.7 or something weird. Let me know if you guys think that's a fair rating. I guess I could go a little higher because I just think the performances are that good, and I like the cinematic value of things in this as well. The storyline just wasn't like that satisfying for me thematically. I think there's some good lessons and good topics to ponder from this, but like I just don't love like the wrap up of it. It was decent though. But yeah, storyline pretty good. Acting, performance, how it was all put together was amazing, I thought. So yeah, I'm in that 7.5 to 8 range. All things considered, there are a lot of great films out there. Let me know what you guys think. I appreciate you guys watching if you got this far, and I'll see you in the next movie or TV review, topic video, whatever. Peace out.